Hi everyone, Vickieverlie here, Rock and Roll Prophetess, and today we're going to take a look at the new moon on February 1st. Now it's 12:46 a.m. Eastern Time, so I imagine it could be on January 31st for a lot of people, but for most people in the U.S. here, it's going to be February 1st, and it's a new moon in Aquarius. So we're kicking off February 1st, the month of February, with a new moon in Aquarius, and then the following day is that 2/22 portal. So it's really a powerful time. And there's these portals and these repeating numeric portals. It's like it's going off into the universe or into outer space. And that's very much goes along with the sign of Aquarius for me, because Aquarius and Uranus is otherworldly, it is space age, it is, technology. It's also, the 11th house of groups, friends, money from the career, hopes, wishes, and dreams. So there's a lot of other things. But I always think of Aquarius as, forging ahead, off into space, into the new program. If anybody's wanting to launch anything, Mercury is still retrograde, I believe. Is it? Let me just double check on that before I speak. Where is our old Mercury here? Yeah, it is still retrograde. But I wanted to launch a couple things on the February 2nd date, even though Mercury doesn't go direct to like the 3rd, I think. But, it looks like for me it's not going to happen. Maybe that is the old Mercury retrograde, working on me. But I mean, this could be a very powerful day to start something, even though the Mercury is retrograde. I mean, I guess you could wait 3 days if you're trying to launch something, until Mercury goes direct. But it's very powerful, and it's very powerful to start something new, like computer-oriented. But just about everything these days is computer-oriented. There's hardly anything that you would do, even if you're opening like a brick-and-mortar store, say. You would still have a website, you would still have social media, you would still have, there's always going to be this Aquarian, technology, science kind of a thing, associated with it. What's interesting is that it's conjunct, we've got, here it is at 12 degrees, Sun and Moon at 12 degrees, and then we've got the Saturn on there too, just a few degrees off, so that's a conjunction. So whenever Saturn is involved, Saturn is always something that's going to be very long term. With Saturn is involved, you can launch something or begin something new that is going to be very long lasting, have a solid foundation that could, because Saturn rules old age and, long term. I'm wanting to say long age. That's not the right words, but that's what wants to come out of my mouth. Long age. But things that will be very long lasting and make it to old age. Whether it's a business or yourself or whatever it is, it would have a very strong foundation with Saturn involved. Saturn involved also too for those of you that may meet somebody or form some kind of a relationship at this time. It again could talk about, very long-standing. That was what I was trying to say, long-standing. It could be very long-standing, but it also could be that there's karmic implications, that there's some kind of past life connection, something of this nature involved. I just want to look at the aspectarian here because it is squaring the Uranus. Yeah, so it's squaring up with Uranus. That's very powerful too. And of course Saturn is still squaring the Uranus. But Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, for those of you that are not familiar. Each planet has a house that it rules and a sign that it rules. So 11th house Aquarius and Uranus are all basically the same vibrational energy. So it's squaring with the Uranus, so the Uranus is really, really activating it anyway. Whenever there's a square, there's like a spark of energy, or there's squares. My astrology teacher always said squares make things happen. And again, it's always good to try to launch something on a square because, a lot of people will say, oh, squares are bad, it causes friction, it's, it causes conflict, it causes friction. And while that can be true, it definitely sparks something, it makes something happen. Because with Uranus and the sign of Aquarius, usually what we're trying to invoke or we're trying to create or what it can bring about is change. Uranus is change. Uranus is not in the status quo, where Saturn is very much in the status quo. So it's a, it's a very different energy. The Saturn-Uranus square has been going on. Saturn wants things fixed and planned out, and Uranus wants to just, let's fly by the seat of our pants and see where it takes us. Let's launch into outer space. So very different energy. One is very much, Saturn is very much grounded in the ground, and Uranus is very much off in space. So people say, oh, that's different, it's bad, they can't get along. They can get along, and they can work together. And especially while Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius, it's very much, it's melding with the Aquarian energy. It's melding with the Uranian energy to create something long-standing that is not the status quo. Quantum leaps, giant leaps can be taken. The guides came through with quantum leaps. Quantum leaps can be taken and new pathways can be forged. That's what the guides are coming through with. Absolutely. In this chart, it's also squaring up with the part of fortune. And the part of fortune is opposing Uranus. So part of fortune can be lucky breaks. And Uranian energy, Aquarian Uranian energy, can bring things about suddenly. All of a sudden something happens. It comes out of left field. It comes out of the blue. I didn't see it coming. Another thing about it too is that with Uranian energy, you have to act quickly. It's not something that's going to be, okay, yeah, it's there. I know that's there. I'll get to it later. It might not be there later. That's the thing with the Aquarian and the Uranian energy. It comes in very quickly and it moves out very quickly. Things change very quickly. There's a lot of electricity surrounding it. There's a lot of buzz surrounding it. There's buzz, there's electricity. So it's not something that maybe you can just, oh yeah, I'll do that. Someday I'll get to that. It's like, here it is. The opportunity's here right now. The part of fortune. Something very fortunate is coming up, or unexpected and surprise. Could be something surprising. Surprising is a good word to associate with this chart. That just because it's surprising doesn't mean that it's negative or it's going to be bad necessarily. It could be surprising, good surprising, yeah. But you have to be willing to go there. You have to be willing to take that leap. You have to be willing to get outside of your comfort zone with the Aquarian energy. You can't be grounded in the old. You have to embrace the new. Okay, let's see what else is happening with this chart. Let's check the aspectarian down here. Yeah, Saturn's conjunct the Sun and Moon. We got that. Venus is trining the Uranus and conjuncting the Mars. They're saying it's conjuncting the Mars. Well, I guess it is. Yeah, it is conjuncting the Mars. What was I looking at? I was thinking it was something else. Yeah, Venus and Mars are in a stellium here with Vesta. Venus is actually in a very tight conjunction with Vesta here. And that's that Vestal Virgins and everything like that. But, Venus and Vesta together is definitely bringing forth some divine feminine energy. And now these are all in the sign of Capricorn. We have Mars, Vesta, Venus, Mercury, Pluto, and Juno at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So even though the new moon's in in Aquarius, we do have 6 placements in Capricorn. So the Capricorn energy is still very strong, which Saturn, talked about rulership, 10th house Capricorn, Saturn is the ruler of that. So Saturn is involved in a couple different ways. Whenever Saturn's involved, it could be dealing with older people. It could be something, again, that's going to be very long-standing. It could be something that will stay with you well into your old age. As you become, I'm hearing centenarian or whatever. That means somebody that would live to 100. That's what the guides are coming through with. So yeah, and this Juno is also trining the North Node. We'll get to then Pluto is, but I want to talk about this stellium here first. So Venus and Mars, this is love energy. This is definitely love energy. If you are looking for love, you may find somebody in a Capricornian setting, maybe in something in a bank or at work, or something with old people, an old retirement home, something like that. Or some of you maybe would meet somebody that you're much older than, or that they are much older than. Maybe that, for some of you with the Uranian energy, maybe that's the strange thing about it, Maybe you could say, I would never date somebody such and such an age, and lo and behold, here they show up, and there's a big age difference. That could absolutely happen. Or what just came through for me, because this could be older people like your parents or your grand authority figures, so maybe it's your mom or somebody's been by, I've got the perfect guy for you, my friend at the nursing home, at the retirement village, she's got a son and I want you to meet him. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, Ma, whatever. It could be something like that, if there's somebody who's pushing that kind of a thing, give it a shot. If it's just like, my mom wants to fix me up with somebody, or computer dating too with the Uranian thing, because, and we are going to be, this is that time of year, we're getting towards Valentine's Day, at least in the United States. I'm not sure if it's really celebrated worldwide, but definitely in the United States, we're moving into that season. So I believe that people, I've read somewhere that the computer dating, they do get their biggest influx of people showing up, to signing up around that time. So maybe, maybe she's like, well, I'll never do that. That's not for me. Maybe, maybe it would be. Venus and Mars is love and it's romance, so that definitely could be. With the Capricornian energy, though, we got to factor that in. So we could do, again, with the Saturn, Capricorn energy, could be very long-standing, lasting a very long time. It could also be, some of you, because Saturn can be really restricted, some of you may be like, I've come to the end of this. I want to go in a different direction. I'm not going to put up with my partner's rules and regulations and restrictive, or that could be the kind of people that potentially you might be attracting at this time. Okay, let's move over to the second part of this Capricornian energy, because we have Pluto conjunct Juno, but Pluto is also conjunct Mercury here. Pluto, what the guides are coming through with is be careful what you say, because you can't take it back. You could say something that's, like don't say, or for instance, maybe don't quit your job, don't put in your 2 weeks notice unless you have another job absolutely, landed for sure. Because there could be big changes that you might speak out about and then have regret about it later. Because sometimes with this kind of energy, it's stuff that, Pluto can be, like there's no going back with Pluto. And with Mercury, so once it flies out of your mouth, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't take it back because you've already said it. So, watch your words, and your words will be very powerful with this aspect. Your words are very powerful. It's a great time to do like affirmations. You can change that. It's always a positive and negative. So it's not just like, oh, Pluto will be the death of me. It doesn't have to be like that. You could say, well, I'm going to harness the power of Pluto to change my life, to turn my life in the direction I want. Very powerful time, even though that Mercury is retrograde, to write down your affirmations, write down what you're wanting to create, what you're intending, your intentions. You could have big breakthroughs if you are a creator and going over back stuff, I'm doing that right now. I'm going to be actually releasing a CD or an EP, but I'm going to start putting out, I have so much music. I have so much music that I haven't released, and I'm going to put out some, like a new age album, just instrumental stuff. And I've been going over all my old music and trying to work on it and get it better, get it ready to release, in other words. And it's a lot of work. There's a lot of it. But I've been making, good progress now. And that's, Mercury retrograde. But with the Pluto, you could have breakthroughs, and I have been. There's been songs that it's just been a snippet, and it's just like, yeah, someday I'll do something with that snippet. So I'm going back, and I'm going through these snippets, and I am making powerful, they're turning into full-length songs, just like, I was almost going to call the CD Jamming with Myself, because that's basically what it feels like. I'm just jamming, it's just, but that's what New Age records usually are, it's just, instrumental jamming, whatever you want to call it, but I'm not going to call it Jamming with Myself. I have a much better name, but anyways, yeah, so I've been doing that. I've been going over this old stuff. So communication is not just your words. Music is definitely a form of communication, absolutely. And even though this isn't a conjunction, we've got a wide orb, they're all in the sign of, we got a stellium here in Capricorn, accompanied by Venus, which is, can be for music as well. But it doesn't have to be music, it could be anything. Going through your old files, going through your old letters, going through your old journals, going through that old script or that old novel or that old book that you were writing, you know, and revisiting it. Because Pluto can bring big breakthroughs where you may have hit a wall and put it aside. Pluto can bring big breakthroughs, as well as the Aquarian energy also can bring big breakthroughs and quantum leaps. The guides keep coming through with quantum leaps, quantum leaps. So anything that you hit a wall with doesn't have to be in the creative nature. It could be a lot of different things. This would be a good time to break that out again, because there could be a major epiphany or breakthrough. Now this Pluto is in Juno here is also sextiling the South Node and trining the North Node with Ceres here. You could with the North Node with Ceres, you could really find your way to abundance. You know, Taurus is a very much abundance in the physical world, and so is Ceres. You know, those of you that are I mean, just on a real mundane level, it might be a good time to try a new recipe. You know, it could be something just like that. But any of you foodies out there, if you wanted to launch some kind of a foodie blog, or you know, a YouTube cooking channel, or put your cookbook out there, or anything along those lines, open your, you know, maybe not open the restaurant on Mercury retrograde, wait a couple more days, but, you know, opening a restaurant, food truck with Mercury involved, maybe it's a food truck, you know. This would be a great time to do that. If that is the case, don't be afraid to go outside the box. Yeah, I do that. A friend just posted something recently. I do that as well. You know, if I want to try, something looks good, you know, I'll look at a bunch of different recipes and then I'll kind of put my own spin on it, you know. I just made this awesome cabbage roll soup. It is so good. It's almost more like a chili, because I'm in the northern hemisphere. We've been snowed in. It's been freezing cold and like many feet of snow everywhere. It's just been pretty horrible, actually. I mean, I love winter, but this is a little too much. It's, you know, this is where you're just suffering. You're just suffering to try to get out the door and go somewhere. But I digress. But anyways, you know, I just made this cabbage soup and it's really good. And you know what I did is I looked up the recipes and then I took I put in how I make stuffed cabbage, you know, and which I put a whole bunch of stuff in my stuffed cabbage. I put in barley, I put in corn, you know, I put in sauerkraut, and I threw all that into this cabbage soup, and I added spinach, and oh my god, it's so good. I mean, I digress, but I've been just loving this cabbage soup. I've been eating it like crazy. And on these cold winter days, it's more like a chili. It's more like a consistency of a chili, but they call it soup. But anyways, on these cold winter days, that has just been, oh, so good. But, you know, you can take something that's already in existence, Saturn, a long-standing thing, you know, Saturn, like recipes that have been handed down from generations and generations, from, you know, the old country, and quote unquote, you know, and you could put a new spin on it and bring it into the modern day. That's another very much thing that is going on here with the Saturn. So don't think that, oh, it's already been done. Forget about it. It's already been done, you know. There's been so many things, you know, it's already been done. But, you know, people, you can put a new spin on it. You can do it in your own way. You know, you do you. You bring it out and do it in your own way in some new fashion. And there's some kind of little mark on there. Let me try to get that off of there. There we go. Yeah, do it in your own fashion. What is old is new again. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, so this North Node, though, nurturing, financial, food, with Ceres is food, figuring out a financial plan, you know, figuring out a new plan with your money, you know, going over your old money things, because Capricorn and Taurus are both very much concerned with money, finance, things of this nature, and then looking in a new direction, maybe looking in a new job or even a new career path, because these are big moves that are long-term moves that are going on right now. This isn't, even though Aquarian can be flitting from one thing to another to some degree, with the Saturn being so firmly in place and all this stuff in Capricorn, we're looking at long-term plans, long-term goals, things that are going to set us up for the future, maybe some kind of an investment, you know, IRA or something along those lines. You know, it could be very frugal and very much, you know, lasting well into the future. Into the future, time keeps on slipping, slipping, Into the future. Yeah, we've got the Chiron is sextiling. The Chiron's not in the aspectarian, but the Chiron is sextiling this too. So you can, and with Mercury too. Mercury retrograde can be going over old thoughts and things, and with the Pluto having a major breakthrough in the way you think and in the story that you've told, our stories. And with the Chiron, we're always trying to heal these wounds, and we're always trying to heal our old stories and our old things. And with its sextiling the new moon in Aquarius, we could absolutely have some kind of enlightenment. We can look at it from a higher perspective and have freedom from it. This could allow freedom from the old things that have held us down, maybe for decades in some case. These old wounds, these old things that we haven't healed can be showing up, and it's also sextiling with the Uranus too. So it's, it's not sextiling, it's in conjunct or semi-sextile, whatever, but it's aspecting the Uranus. It's also squaring up with Lilith over here. So with, we got Aries and we got Lilith and Chiron. It could be anger. It could be bringing up anger. But then you have somewhere to go with it. You have a way to bring it up with Pluto. That brings up that old anger and those old emotions too. That digs down deep and gets that out of there. And there is, with the part of fortune in Scorpio, which is the ruler of Pluto, is why I tie that in for those who aren't familiar. Scorpio, Pluto, okay? So the part of fortune is in Scorpio. This is bringing out, it's good to do that. It's good to get down in that deep thing. You'll have benefit from it. It's just not about revisiting the pain. It's about, revisiting the pain and maybe really figuring it out and figuring out a way to move it on and move it out of your body, because all this earth energies, and Taurus especially, is very much in the physical body. I just noticed that. This is part of fortune, Lilith, and Jupiter. We have a grand trine in water over here. Yeah, Jupiter in Pisces is there, so creating spiritual work. It's going to come up in it's not till like April we're going to have that conjunction, but we have right now Neptune conjuncting Pallas in Pisces. We have some Pisces energy going on. So the Piscean energy at its best is the dreamer, making your dreams come true, creating reality. It's film, it's art, it's ascending reality. Ascending reality is the fish swimming upward. Of course, there's always the other part of it, the fish swimming downward. There's the escapism. There's the, the drugs and alcohol, mental illness. So Neptune is not in reality. You can either ascend reality to higher realms, or you can, try to escape reality. That is a thing that you don't really want to go there at this time, because this could be like, these things come up because this could be sadness too. I believe Neptune rules over like sadness and tears and stuff and depression. So these things could come up, and then you're just like, oh, I don't want to think about that. It hurts too much. I have to, push it away. No, this is not the time to push it away. This is the time, if you are a creative, I know a lot of creative people do watch my forecasts, or even if you're not, you delve into it. You don't have to consider yourself an artist to be creative. I have all sorts of classes and tools about that. You can check out my website. Take that pain, take that suffering, and transmute it through art or music or creativity or journaling with the Mercury. There's a lot of different ways that you can instead of trying to push it away, allow creativity to flow, to take you through it, to flow it out of you, to heal it. It's a form of healing. It absolutely. There's art therapy. That's a thing. Music therapy. People have college degrees in that. It's an actual job that people have. It's well respected in the mainstream. Yeah, and then the Jupiter is also sextiling this Venus-Mars thing here too. So for some of you, whatever, with the love thing, if you're going to put it out there in a way of I'm looking for love and romance, it could just show up like crazy. Here's the thing though too, when you're looking for love or getting into anything, when there's a heavy, but it's making aspects most strongly to this Venus-Mars. Neptune is also the planet of illusions. You know, you can be looking at somebody through with rose-colored glasses and maybe not really seeing them clearly. So just be aware of that. You know, I think that's always the case though when we first are falling in love, isn't it? And we just are, we're in our happy love cloud and everything's beautiful, and then you get to the nitty-gritty of it later on. It all comes out in the wash, is what the guys are saying. You know, speaking of creativity and stuff that you don't have to really be creative to do, I would try to do a sigil for this. I didn't spend a ton of time on it, but I did. I was going to do a sigil for this new moon, so here's how I was playing around with it. And I came up with a few. The ones that are circle are the ones that I like the best. You know, this has the N and the M in it for new moon, and the Aquarian symbol and the sun and moon. This has the Uranus symbol in, oh, this one has the Uranus. This one's probably my favorite. Has the Uranus symbol and the moon and the sun and the Aquarian, and then the A for Aquarius, and, you know, some different combinations. And then here's another cool one. I think it has an N. And, well, you know, it's the point is with the sigils that you can't really see the symbols, the N's and the M's and all that stuff. You know, so I try to do it. I think I like this one the best. You know, but this is, you know, sigil making is another way that, and I've got, of course, my book is out. I showed it on the tarot readings. I know a lot of you don't watch it, but the actual book is out. Woohoo! So, yeah, sigil making is a really powerful way of maybe working through things and, you know, using art in a way to, you know, do things, create your reality, manifest your reality, heal those wounds. Absolutely, you can use sigils for that as well. What is on my tablet here? There's some kind of stuff here. I don't know what it is. Sorry about that. Yeah, yeah. So this is a very powerful manifestation new moon. It's also a very powerful new moon for, oh, because I turned the white on now, the screen looks blue. Oh, sorry about that. It's a very powerful new moon for really changing your course. Changing your course and going in a direction. Doing something completely new that is you just never saw yourself doing. You know, this could absolutely happen. Take that risk. Take that shot. Give it a shot. Give it a go. And see if it flies. And I think for most of you, what the guides are coming through with is not only are you going to fly, you're going to soar. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that a lot. All right, hey everybody, before we wrap it up, I want to quickly mention, I am opening, if you would like the astrology readings more, I am opening up for the Aries ingress. I do always start a little early so that I can get everybody in and I'm not completely overwhelmed. So if you're planning on ordering it, it is available now. It will be available for a limited time. It will be available through into March when it is, but I'd like to get an early start on it. So if that's something that interests you, that's a bi-wheel chart where I put your natal wheel in the middle, and then the outer ring is all the transits at the time of that ingress. Those ingress charts, before I ever started YouTube, I never ran the new and full moon chart ever. But I always ran those ingress charts, and I always put those on do that bi-wheel on my chart, because those are very powerful indicators of what to expect in the upcoming season. And we talk about other transits, and it's still a psychic reading as well. So if you think that might interest you, you know, definitely check it out. But here it is, the new moon in Aquarius. Remember that you guys are love and beauty incarnate, and you have the power to be so much more than you ever imagined. And with these kind of big aspects that are coming up, this is the time when it can be really breakthrough energy can happen, and you really can align, you know, you can align with your higher self with the Aquarius. I think of the Aquarius energy as like your higher self, you know, I think of it that way. But it's definitely things outside of our dimension, outside of our earth plane 3D realm. So, you know, you can do that. You can connect with that. You know, maybe some of you might even start automatic writing or channeling at this time. If you ever thought about doing that, this would be a great time to do it. Great time to give it a shot. And I think, you know, the results could be really surprising. It's a lot easier than people really think it is, you know. Well, I mean, it was for me. And it can be. If you're not putting a bunch of blockages in front of yourself. This is a time of removing blockages. Uranian Aquarius energy wants freedom. They don't want to hear about blockages, and, you know, they're just going to go for it anyway. You know, they're just going to go for it and give it a shot anyway, and rise to the occasion. That's what the guides are coming through with. All right, everybody. This is the reading. Thanks so much for tuning in. Check out the Sigil Workbook. Check out the Aries Ingress reading. And I have a whole bunch of other stuff on my chart. So if you are interested also in art and creativity and spirituality, I do have a couple of courses that are available. They're really fun, no art experience necessary, so check it all out. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you like my content, please do hit that subscribe button. That lets YouTube know that you do enjoy my content, and it gets my message out to more and more people. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great one. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.